The RG552 should be coming out in the next few weeks. That being said, you might not get one till closer to Christmas, but it's faster, bigger screen, bringing back the HDMI and the Wi-Fi. This thing is a welcomed upgrade. It's not like a lot of these other devices out there where they just add one or two things. I think this will be a really welcomed change. So let's go into those changes I just mentioned and show you some performance and what we should expect. Comparing it to the last generation with a similar setup will be the RG351P. And as you see here, you only got a 3.5 inch screen where we're now going to a 5.5 inch screen. RAM, you're going from 1 gigabyte to 4 gigabytes. Resolution, you're going from a 1920 by 1152. Ooh, way more pixels from a 320 by 480. The biggest performance difference is going to be in that CPU, GPU, as you see here with the Rock chip, 6 cores at 1.8 gigahertz. I've also pulled down this little comparison for you right here, and you can see it's just way more performance going on here. A little bit more wattage, so it'll be interesting to see how the battery goes, but way nicer GPU, way nicer CPU. Even video playback is looking pretty promising, so that is a welcomed difference. Aspect ratio is 5:3, so that's kind of weird, but I think a lot of people who want to run like a 4:3, it'll look not perfect, but I think a lot of people are gonna be okay with that. Now look at this, two 3200 milliamp batteries versus the one 3500. So I think that's going to address our battery runtime issues with the faster processing. It's also going to support fast charging, which is welcomed with 2 batteries. 10-point touchscreen as well, and then HDMI output tentatively full size. They don't know yet a lot. So what we're reading here is these have been leaks. These have been information that has been found through different social media users that have in the past been correct, right? They've been, they're somewhat related maybe to a spokesperson or something like that. Speaking of performance, you could see here that there's a video running this Rock chip with Dolphin GameCube emulation here. Now you can see getting 16 frames up there. But that being said, I just know that Dreamcast is going to run a lot better now. Nintendo 64 is going to run a lot better now. Some of those harder to emulate MAME games are going to be running better now. So PSP games are going to be running better now. So just shows you a good idea that the performance will be a welcome increase, especially if you're going to be playing those systems that do require a little bit more bandwidth. The screen. I mean, thank you. The bigger the screen, the better. I think 5-inch, 6-inch, right in that ballpark, keeps it portable, but it also, it's just such a better viewing experience. You can see here with the controls, exactly the same controls. You got the 2 analog sticks, you got the D-pad, ABXY, and you got the bumpers up at the top. Looks like you have some, some grating for cooling. And then it looks like there's a fan here, but if you look, there's a fan test. So maybe that's an intake fan and then the outtake fan is at the top. But that's really fascinating, right? So that's going to be interesting too, because the ports are going to have to be relocated too, because on the RG351, there must be moving this OTG cable, the USB Type-C. They might be moving that to put the fan here. So here it is in comparison with a Switch. So as you can see, I think this is a great photo here to see what kind of portability. Will it fit in your pocket or not? I mean, it will fit in your pocket, but it's going to be beefy for sure. I want to talk a little bit about the upgrade. If you're just going to be playing, Super Nintendo, I think this is going to be just fine, especially performance-wise. However, I think people who want to, get something a little bigger, for sure, the screen is just a huge selling point to me. I mean, I would love a bigger screen. I think the other one is tiny in comparison. But 2, the performance, right? If you're going to be playing some PSP, some Nintendo DS, especially you go up to like Nintendo 64. Now the price. So they thought it'd be $150 to $220. They're now saying because of supply chain shortages, right? That's what I would expect too, is $150 to $220. They crossed it out. But now they're saying, wow, $230 to $250. So considerable price increase here. I think this might be a deal breaker because as you see, you get the 351 for $90. By the way, there's a bunch of Black Friday deals going on right now. This is for 64 gigabyte SD card included. You know, so that's over double. I think it's going to price a lot of the conscious gamers out, but at the same time, you know what we're seeing with some of the nicer handhelds coming out, like the Valve handheld. You know, people are willing to pay a higher price if it is full featured. So will it find a spot kind of in that middle point between, you know, the Valve and this? Maybe, and the GP win, you know, maybe, you know, we'll see. I think the biggest selling point to these are the fact that they come preloaded, right? Like they're just plug and play. People can start playing games immediately. Speaking of games, they think it's gonna an unknown version of Android. I was reading it saying Android 7.1, but somebody was saying maybe even Android 8 to Android 10. So we'll see about that. So Taki has reviewed it. So it looks like they have models out there. People checking out. I have not received a model yet. And then it should have the dual SD cards as well. So let's review. We got the new Rockchip RK3399 to give us better performance. It's going to be awesome. I think that's a welcome upgrade. The 5.5-inch display with the way much higher resolution. 2 batteries instead of 1. Fast charging. The HDMI port will be brought back. Whether it's a full size or a mini, we don't know yet. Wi-Fi support is being pushed again. They said verbatim supports Wi-Fi online games. So whether or not you'll need an external dongle or it'll actually include it in the case, we will see. Also, it seems like it will be coming out with the plastic shell first. That makes a lot of sense. I think the metal shell, one of the issues is A, the cost, and B, I think there's some Wi-Fi issues if you are going to put an internal Wi-Fi in a metal shell versus plastic. And then bigger, faster, and extra features. I think that's it, right? And those features are pretty significant from the Wi-Fi, HDMI, dual batteries, you know, built-in hard drive. Really, really nice. So with all that said, I pass the question on to you. Are you guys excited about this? Do you think the price is going to kill this deal? I think the price is going to really hurt it a lot. Like, I agree 100% that it should be between $150 and $200. And the fact that we're going mid 200s, that to me is kind of a big deal. But I do understand the supply chain issues as we're seeing all over the place with laptops, portable systems, and everything. So with that, that's what we know so far. Could there be changes? Hell yeah. I think these are all very good indicators, though. You have some pretty big influencers commenting on it and getting review units. And in the past, ANBERNIC has leaked a lot of their information prior to their releases. So I would not be surprised if the majority of this does come true. As far as color options, we'll see. I'm sure it'll be something similar, you know, probably Pokemon colors maybe. But definitely there'll be a black and a white. And we'll see what goes on from here. You know, now you know whether you want to spend, you know, an extra couple $100, or you can now, during Black Friday, take advantage of the cheaper models as they're out. I myself are probably going to wait until I can get a review model or something like that from Banggood, but I can understand there's a lot more competition in the market right now, especially with the, you know, the new Valve product, and there's just a lot more companies that are coming out with similar devices, you know, like Powkitty and other companies. So with all that said, and then you got the GDP win, you got all those devices. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see whether they sell as many units. I'm always surprised, though. You know, people who are in this retro gaming and emulation community, there's a lot bigger than I think a lot of people realize. So I think they'll still sell thousands of units. It's just whether or not it'll be as successful as the other units. And then, of course, they can always liquidate this stuff as new items come out. So I think it's a smart move. It puts them in the right direction. It keeps their development moving, their R&D. So it's all welcomed, and plug and play. I think that's just it, is the plug and play factor with the better specs are going to attract people. But that's what I think. Let me know what y'all think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.